Alright, it is Tuesday. We are live. It is a needle felting day. And we're gonna get back to work on our banana slugs. Sorry about yesterday. I was not feeling well. And it was just a chaotic day, and I'm just like, no. It's alright. So, we're gonna start working on color today. Underside, I'm gonna make camel. So that's where we're gonna start. Because why not? Why not? Bean kept trying to run away with Joe Banana Slug earlier. Much to my frustration. I'm like, you cannot have the banana slug. I had only had him out of the yarn box that I was keeping him in, so he didn't get dirty, for just a few minutes. And I looked up and he's on my desk trying to pick it up and run away with it. I'm like, no, Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean is currently in a timeout because he was getting a little too stimulated and causing some trouble. So I think, actually the face underside should probably be this color too. I know it's probably not the same color as other banana slugs and their variants, but this is a finger puppet that I am basing the coloring off of. I know I've seen some pictures out there of them being bright yellow, but I also saw some that were a little bit closer to the husband's finger puppet. So we're gonna kind of try to split the difference here. And see what we come up with. And we still have to make the display log. I did decide to go through with that. Husband thought that sounded cute. So I'll worry about the display log once I get the coloring completed on this guy. Now I probably could take the coloring out a little bit wider, and I might. We'll see how things pan out here as we go. I did get a little bit more editing done on the tissue paper project, but not much. I think I've got about 20 minutes left on my 39th recording that I did, and then I just have to do another 2-hour cut down for this section that I'm working on right now. before I can render that set. So I'm editing them in groups of 20. Because there's 180 video clips, you guys. I can't get all of that comfortably into one video at its full length, so I'm going to edit them down in chunks of 20s and render them. And then I'll take those rendered files and throw them all together and then slap some background, approved background music from the YouTube library, and we'll go with that. The section I'm editing right now is sitting at the 1 hour mark. The section before that was at 55 minutes, 51 minutes? I think it's 51 minutes. So even edited down, this is going to be quite a monster of a project here. I mean, I kind of figured it would be, but at the same time I was like, oh, it'll be like maybe 3 hours when I'm done. No, no. If I speed it up any more, it's going to be hard to look at. As I'm going right now, I'm seeing sections that I could have cut out, but I've already got them added in earlier, and it's going to look weird if I change it now. To just suddenly have that part chunked out. And I think in the end it might only save me maybe 10 minutes. So I'm just gonna leave it in. Because I'm not going back and re-editing that first chunk. I'm not. I could cut out the sketching and the underpainting from the first set, but it was also part of the process, so I don't necessarily want to remove it. So I'm showing my process. So part of me was like, well, I mean, you could save yourself like 20 minutes if you took it out here, but at the same time, I don't want to. Because it's part of it. My goal is to try to have the edit done by the end of the year, but I don't think that's going to happen. I've got a section of videos that are a little bit shorter, further back, but they're not shorter by very much. So like I was trying to keep the videos to shorter length, like around an hour-ish, because I knew, like the recorded clips, I should say. I was trying to keep to around an hour because I know my brain is going to get upset when I'm editing a large section of recorded video because it feels like I'm just slogging through molasses and I'm not making any headway whatsoever. If they're shorter video recordings, like around an hour, and I can edit them and get through like 2 in a night, depending on how distracted I am, then I feel like I've accomplished something. But some of the videos, video recordings, apparently I let run for about 2 hours. I think I saw one that was 4 hours, and I was like, oof. I'm not thrilled about the fact that I did that. Okay, so I do want the underside of the head here the same color. And I'm trying to be a little bit careful here. So that I don't stab the fingers. Because that would not be ideal. Okay. So now it is the polyfill, I do have it pretty dense here. So I do have to be a little bit careful. I mean, I did it slightly dense on purpose because I didn't want it changing its shape on me. Let's see. So the head section isn't quite as dense as the rest of it, though. Like this particular section, the needle's going in pretty easily. But I'm gonna need a bit of this layered in, right? To fully cover the polyfill. Now, some people would use roving as their core, some people would just use the main color of roving to build their thing. I didn't have all that much roving. I guess it could have been a rainbow mold, I suppose. A rainbow base of the figure if I had used like every shade I had. I think we did that with Reggie. I had extra roving that I was wrapping around his complicated armature wire. But don't really like the armature wire. It's very nerve-wracking for me. And I am using acrylic yarn. I've done figurines with solid acrylic yarn before. It can be done. It takes a little more patience, but it can be done. Ideally, people are like, well, if you're going to go the acrylic yarn route, you really want to have some kind of roving as your interior. The acrylic yarn doesn't like to stick to itself, but it can be done. I have done it before. So this is where things do slow down a little bit, right? Because I am trying to get our color built up here. And that's okay. I've got time. I've got a little bit of time to work with. Okay, so we've got this getting worked into itself. And that's starting to look pretty okay on the side here. Still need to extend that out a little bit, the brown, to where I'm a bit happier with it. I still have some polyfill poking through in here. Probably not picking up on the camera, but I can see it, so that is a bit that I'm gonna need to deal with. I probably will have to, well, I don't know. I was gonna say I might need to fluff some more of my camel color here. And we'll see, we'll see. I've got more of it, so I don't have to worry about that. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see how we do. And I'm not in a huge rush with this. I mean, I do have a slight time parameter on this guy, but I'm like not in a huge rush because we did start this guy early. So this might be like this project's videos might not finish on YouTube until after Christmas. Depends on how long it takes me to finish him. And how ahead I am by the time we get there, because I have missed a few live streams recently. So at one point I was almost 3 weeks ahead. I think I'm currently only 2 weeks ahead now over there compared to what we've done over here. Because we've just been having stuff happening. It's been chaotic. Mr. Bean got out of the house on my mom Sunday night. We did manage to catch him, fortunately. And then that was a freaking nerve-wracking situation. And of course, there was no traffic at all, and then all of the sudden, the second he got out and was under our car, in our carport, all of the traffic started going by, and then the one outside cat that likes to come visit had to come out, and then she looked like she was about to chase him, and I'm like, stop! Please! Oh, it was bad. It was like body shaking. It was not good. So now Mr. Bean has to go into the other room with the door shut whenever my mom goes in and out, because my mom is slow and not that fast, and doesn't see very well, so Mr. Bean has proven he can't be trusted around the doors. Even if we're stepping out for a minute, I've been putting him back in the one room, well, one of the few rooms in this house has a door that shuts on it, so that he can't get into too much trouble. But then we get a text from the husband's mother yesterday where she just says, we're on the road. And he's like, what? What do you mean you're on the road? Oh, we're on our way back down. No warning. That's as much warning that we got. We had no idea that they were getting ready to come down. We have no idea what money they're using for gas and to get down here. Because she ain't got any. And I'm like, oh, great. Now we have to deal with Mr. Bean being a poopy head and a rambunctious kitten on top of your mom. And your mom's now going to have to text us every time she's trying to come in the house so we can grab Mr. Bean. Because, I mean, for Christ's sake, Momo got out the house on her the one time. Because she was just standing there holding the screen door open. So Momo ran out the door and almost got hit by a car. Plus all of her other nonsense that we're gonna have to deal with. And dealing with them, dealing with the Rottweiler when they're not really dealing with the Rottweiler, the Doberman. The Rottweiler was easier to deal with, to be perfectly honest. She was too old to get into too much trouble. And we don't know how long they are staying. or how long it's going to take them to get here. And like Russell warned her, you know there might be a government shutdown about to happen, right? We might not get any money coming in, right? And I don't even know if that penetrated her brain. Because she was asking us for money. It's not been a great couple of days, you guys. So yeah, we needed to take yesterday for a mental health day at the very least, but no, my shoulder and neck were displeased because we're in a temperature roller coaster at the moment. So it's getting down into like the high 50s, low 60s at night right now, which is nice. I was able to turn the one fan off for a little while. It's been like running non-stop this summer. But the temperature dips are wreaking havoc with my neck. And then I think I slept weird and apparently pissed something off around my shoulder that I didn't even realize I had pissed off because I didn't feel it. Like, it didn't hurt when I was moving, like every day moving around, you know. And Russell had to put some Bengay on my neck because it was starting to lock up, and he rubbed this one spot around my shoulder, and I was like, ow, that's sore. And he's like, huh. And he kept like, he goes, yeah. I'm like, yeah, that whole area. I said, it didn't feel sore until you touched it. He's like, yeah, something over here you made angry. I was like, jeez. I was like, well, that's just great. And it was also my mom's birthday, so and husband was not having a good day. It was he was easy to upset yesterday, so I just didn't want to deal with all of it. Didn't want to try to stream while he was quite that upset, so but we've come to realize that that's part of his autism. When he's having trouble dealing with stuff, he gets upset. So he needed a little bit more support yesterday. And that's fine. You know, every day's an adventure. Even when we thought it was just his anxiety and depression, I'm like, we pick our battles every day, sometimes every hour, depending on how the day is going. We're gonna win some, we're gonna lose some, and some aren't worth fighting through. So that might not be so bad. Like, I still have to do the top color, but I'm gonna do that in a different shade. Life isn't always pretty. Life is messy and raw and complicated, and it's always an adventure. You okay?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you go?
Boiling eggs.
Oh. Is he still in timeout? Like, did she come back in?
Yeah, she came back in while I was setting up in their kitchen. So.
Well, I'll just make sure she's back in. That had a little bit of a thinner section in there. So, just wanted to get that covered up. Sometimes things just don't go our way. Alright, so I've got some more thinness up there. And that's fine. It's just something I have to add some more fluff to. And I'm trying to go a little bit slow on this, deliberately, so that I can take the time, look at what I'm doing, make sure I'm happy with where I'm sitting. Okay. Like, even though this is a fairly simple guy, it's still gonna take a little bit of time. Like, it's not gonna be super, super fast. But as I get my fluffy layers in here, I'll have more fluff that I can weave into. And that will make things go a little bit better. Or a little bit faster. Ooh, the new Minecraft update finally released on Java, the Copper Age edition. I don't know, but that looks fun. I had been holding off recording some of that until that dropped. They announced the next one the other day. Was it Mounts and Mayhem or something? I'm not too crazy about the idea of zombies riding zombie horses. That sounds a little terrifying. So I'm not quite looking forward to that. But I wasn't seeing a update or download button when I was first looking at the launcher, so I wasn't sure if it had actually gone through. So I loaded up my current recording file, and no, it went through. I was like, oh, lovely. Considering the amount of copper I've been finding and the distinct lack of anything else, like I barely had enough iron to make something. I forget what I used it for. Oh, I think it was a bucket. So I like really needed a bucket for the farm. But I also really need shears and I really need a pick, and I'm like, great. I don't want to slaughter my sheep for wool if I can help it. But we'll see how that goes. So is he loose now, or?
Yes.
Okay. And she knows he's loose?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So we'll just keep on adding our light brown here. Gonna make the underside a solid color. So it might be a while before the Minecraft stuff hits the channel, because I need to finish the tissue paper project first before I get around to messing with that edit, because that's going to be a little more involved than like my little known galaxy edits. I thought I had a section that I needed to cut out in that, but I couldn't find it. So sorry if there's like a weird dead spot or something. Because that took me like all day trying to skim through those recordings. And I've got 14 of those uploaded and ready to go. As soon as Honey I Joined a Cult finishes up. And I do want to get back to that at some point. Doing a different choosing like a different god and going a slightly different path. Now that I kind of have an idea of what I'm doing to integrate with that and how big I need to set buildings up with, or that kind of thing, like how much space I'm really going to need and all that. All right, still got a thin spot right in here that I'm kind of fighting with. It just doesn't want to be covered. I mean, we're covering it one way or another. It's just being a little fussy, that's all. And we've got Katamari coming out October 23rd, 24th. So I do want to get into that. We might be doing an extra bonus day to play that a bit. Oh, okay. Heard a noise. I didn't know what it was. That seems like that was the husband. Doing something out in the kitchen. So yeah, we got Katamari coming up. There's 2 games on my wish list that I really want, but I don't believe their dates have been announced yet, so we're kind of in a holding path. Well, 3, I think. 2 to 3. Dates haven't been announced on them yet, though, so holding pattern on those. So we'll see what happens there. I did get gifted a copy of Sandrock. I haven't touched it yet. I did do a little bit of Portia, though. Portia, however it's supposed to be pronounced. There was a lot of debate on that, and I don't know what the final decision was on that. I want to get back into Dinkum. Like, there's a lot of stuff I want to do. I've got enough stuff to keep me busy for a while, even if without picking up anything new. I did change the upload time to later at the end of the day on YouTube. The scheduled publish time. The go live time, if you will. So if you've noticed that, I did change that a couple days ago. We're just kind of experimenting and seeing, because the time that I'm currently, or that I was currently going live over there with the archived videos, like not live streaming, but the archives were going live, is kind of at a peak busy time for other stuff going up from people. So we're just seeing, 'cause some stuff would get like no views whatsoever. So we weren't sure if it was just, getting lost in a sea of other stuff. So we're just trying to go a little bit later in the day to see how all that's going. And if you have subscribed on the YouTube channel, it's a good idea to check in over there every so often to make sure you are still subscribed, because YouTube likes to unsubscribe people every so often. So make sure you are checking that. Make sure that you weren't also YouTube unhelpfully unsubscribing you. And do make sure that your notifications are turned to all over there. When you just click subscribe, if you turn on the notifications, it defaults to personalized, where it only gives you some of them. Like, you might only get like 1 or 2 notifications out of like 30 things I've posted. So make sure that you switch that to all. So that way you're seeing when, or you're getting a notification when we are uploading every day over there. I was doing every other day for a while, but stuff was getting pushed so far out doing that. It was getting almost comical, so I went back to every day for now. Okay. I mean, we're getting there slowly. Oh, so slowly. These are usually a labor of love. Is one way to put it. Didn't want to let go of my needle there. Okay. So we'll just work on getting this popped into here as best as we can. Now, I do use the acrylic yarn for anybody that's new. That does require a little bit more prep work than if you just gotten roving and just, straight out of the bag or whatever. The packaging. You have to do a little bit more to the yarn. But it's also a bit more budget friendly for me, because we've got a tight crafting budget. most of the time. So, husband might be getting a new art pad this year. We'll see. We'll see how things look on Black Friday sales. And if he does, I'm going to be taking his older pad. In which case, we'll be able to do some more things. I wanted to try to do some more outlining on stuff and project planning and all that. So we'll see. See how that goes, because I don't know what all I really need this year. I have a bunch of canvas still. I'm still pretty good on fluff. There's a latch hook kit I kind of want. And I kind of wanted to do some embroidery stuff. So maybe like some beginner embroidery kits that teach you different stuff. Potentially. There. Got some more thin spots here. But that's going to happen as we go along here. Not a big deal. Right, we're still working our way down our slug belly. Oh, sluggy belly. Now, I don't know. Maybe I should have gone more taupiness here, but I just decided to go with the camel. I'm not changing it now. The top side might be more of like a soft fudge color or maybe taupe on the top. Kind of depends. I need to look at what colors I had originally pulled out. Because we kind of sat down together, or at least stood at the fluff wall, and kind of picked some out. And I had tossed them to the side temporarily. And I didn't hang them back up yet. Now, I think I still have some felt. I need to look at my felt storage here. I might ask for a few more magnets. Because I am getting a little low on them. Still have plenty of wood squares in both sizes. Definitely gets a lot stiffer once we start putting in the fluff. One thing sometimes I have a hard time with is telling if it's a thin spot or if it's just the way the light's reflecting off of it. That could kind of be either. So I'm just going to take a little small amount here. And just kind of tap that in over it because it caught my attention, right? So it could be a little bit of polyfill poking through. Entirely possible. Could also just be a shiny section of fluff. Because this yarn got a little bit silky feeling. A little bit. This shade's a little extra slippery feeling, so it could just be that it's that shiny. And some shades of yarn I have do have some white shiny strands running through them. So sometimes I'm definitely left second guessing as to, is this the yarn? But I don't see it now, so I think it was some of the polyfill. Sometimes you have to turn this stuff to a slightly different angle to be able to see a potential thin spot. Now, if you are making this completely out of your main color fluff and then just adding a different top color on, you wouldn't have to necessarily be too too concerned or too on the lookout for that. I just did things a little bit differently, so there's one thing I need to kind of check in every so often for. So this section in here, I have a couple of loose little tails there. So what I'm doing when I'm doing this is that I'm feeling for movement on what's down and looking for movement of the strands that I have in place already. Now, if you're having a little bit of a hard time getting your strands to cooperate and they're just kind of all over the place, you can take a couple drops of water. Usually a drop is enough with this stuff. Just to give you enough friction on your hands to try to shape it a little bit better. Sometimes that helps with all the little extra flyaway guys. Just to kind of get them in line and to lay down a little bit more. Sometimes it helps. Doesn't work every time, but sometimes. And I'm not talking drench it. I'm talking like a drop off of your finger is usually enough to at least get the outer edges to cooperate. We're not wet felting. That is a whole entire different beast. And for that, you're definitely going to want to do the roving for that. I do not believe you can use the acrylic yarn for that. I could be wrong. I've not done the wet felting before, but I think the magic in the wet felting is the fact that it is roving and it sticks to itself. So that's an entirely different animal. This section, it's not quite as compacted. So I've got my fluff going in a little bit easier. Just make sure you're watching your fingers and that you don't have them in the line of fire. And do keep in mind how thick your piece is in certain sections, because like down here it's going to be a lot thinner, in which case our needle's more likely to completely go through. So you definitely want to watch where those fingies are. Like that's a big deal, especially if you don't have the protectors on. We do, because we do silly things sometimes. And our aim is not the greatest. I've never had the greatest hand-eye coordination. Sorry, my ears are itching. Oh, my sinuses are not good. this current round of allergies coming into fall. They are ramping up. And it's not been fun. Husband and I are getting battered. Just, whew. I could feel, like I took a drink and then I felt like my sinuses were trying to drain after I did that, and then it made them itch. I was like, ugh. Like the grossest tickly sensation ever. Okay. We're not doing too bad though. I mean, yeah, we're only working on this one color so far, but it seems to be going in pretty well. And we do have a ways to go on this guy. I'm probably gonna do the face last. Um, just so I don't mess it up with, you know, rolling it every which direction, trying to get the rest of this guy put together. Okay. Actually, I need to turn that down a little bit. It's a little loud in my ears. Oh. Okay. So we'll get this section popped into here. Just so I can kind of keep my edges in check here. I mean, the way I did the outer shell, it kind of did keep that in check, but only so much because I think I stopped the outer extension about there. I don't know if I stopped it there on purpose or if I was gonna come back and do the rest of it and forgot. Anything's entirely possible. It's been a little bit since we've worked on this guy due to just life. Life happens around here. Right? Like some people can dedicate day in, day out, 8 hours a day to this, uninterrupted. I need breaks every so often. My finger's doing something weird here today. don't know, maybe I'm death gripping the handle a little too much there. Alright, so I'm gonna turn this guy. And gonna work on getting this edge popped into here, just so I don't get too carried away. Okay. So I think that kind of gets us down to where I left off building up the back of its width. Like, yeah, it's back. Its top side. Looks about where that tapered off at. Okay. Sorry, I kept hearing a weird noise and I didn't know what it was. Might have just been something on my desk shifting. With the momentum or the shaking of everything here. Alrighty. We'll get that kind of worked into there. I almost want to keep doing that down the length here, so I don't get too carried away and lose track here. Okay. So this guy can kind of see where I don't know if I drew a line or if it's just the line that happened. Kind of looks like I drew it. I think I vaguely remember drawing something, so I knew how far to take the building up of the top side. It kind of looks like I drew something in there. Let's say this section definitely got stiffer. Oh, is that where he was hiding?
No.
I think Cal was hiding on our pantry shelves. His husband just chased Bean out of the pantry. We don't actually have a closed pantry, it's just extra shelving. Open shelves. But with the way that Cal likes to climb in there at times, I have wanted to do like those pie cooling rack doors on there or something, like with the chicken wire on the one side. Cal's here, which means Mr. Bean will not be far behind. Come on, cats. Sounds like somebody clawed the husband. Yeah, like I can't sit against the back of my chair when him and Bean are in here because one of them will get me in their mad dash to try to get each other. So get that into there. Don't know if it's gonna be quite enough to get all the way around. No, it's not going to be. Okay. So that little nubby of a tail here, I'm going to make the same color as the top, as the back. So I didn't need to necessarily like outline the spot, but I kind of felt like it might be a little bit easier just to keep track of where it needed to be, so that's okay. Okay. All right, so we need a bit more fluff. Now, I have been working in small amounts of fluff. You can work in larger. I said before, I tend to like working in smaller amounts at a time because then I can take a break every few minutes or so and just kind of let everything take a rest from all of the stabbing motions. Okay, but so far, I think we're looking okay here. We'll probably get to starting the body color here today. Probably. Don't know how far we'll get on the body. I gotta remember what colors I decided the body was gonna be. Gonna have to take a look at colors I kinda tossed to the side here. Got a few. I'm just trying to remember what I had decided they were supposed to be. This that's making the noise? Something over here keeps making a rattling noise, and I don't know what it is. It's definitely something on my desk. Okay, so now we just have to come back and start filling in our lines here that we've put in. Might need a tiny bit of water just to kind of help this stuff lay down a little bit easier. Potentially. Okay. Literally like a drop of water. Okay. Yeah, that definitely does help it lay a little bit flatter. Speeds it up a little bit because then all of our fluffy fibers are a little bit closer to the surface that we are stabbing into. Point that the other way. Okay. Sorry, the creaky noise was my keyboard tray. Apparently, part of me was touching it. And it's either the tray mounting that's slightly crooked, or it's the tray was pulled out slightly crooked. One of those. So it was being a little extra creaky bill. That's okay. I'll still take that creaky keyboard tray over the screechy one. I mean, the screechy one was pretty old though. That had come off of several different... Well, no, the screechy one came off of that desk. I think that was part of that desk. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it. The wrist rest I have had since before... The heck?
Just cats jumping around being bastards.
Why is Cow in your bed? Can you open the curtain so maybe Mr. Bean will get distracted by the window? Because he did get somewhat entertained staring out the window for a bit yesterday. We've had a couple birds starting to come back to the bird feeder. And of course, we hadn't seen any hummingbirds all summer, so we didn't fill the feeder. And then my mom's like, the hummingbirds are here. And I'm like, what? So we filled the feeder, and now I haven't seen any. Other people were saying that they've had them in their yards looking. But the only feeder we had's a little, the only hook we have available right now is close to the ground, so I don't know if they're gonna use it. They were looking at the flowers we had around. We did have some woodpeckers, or at least a woodpecker, in our suet cage. I was kind of surprised that the starlings didn't see it, but they haven't yet. Hold on one second. Alright, sorry about that. I had to put Mr. Bean in his timeout room. My mom needed to go out to smoke. And husband was indisposed, so I need to go and grab him. And the whole time I'm carrying him to his room, he is trying to rip the finger protectors off of my hand. He was most displeased with the fact that he had to go to timeout again. But those are the consequences of him bolting out the door. Once we rescued Little, she seems scared of outside. I don't think Mr. Bean has enough memory of outside to be scared of it. Plus, he's a bit more of an adventurous daredevil from what we've experienced so far with him. So again, that was just a little bit of water. I thought I was just warm, but it's actually getting warm in our room, so I had to put the fans back on. Doesn't take much. We get sun on two sides of this room for like 90% of the day, just about, it seems. And so it has warmed up quite a bit from this morning. But I didn't have to have the one fan running last night, so it was off for a few hours. Which I'm sure that fan was highly appreciative of. We're going to be in big trouble when that fan gives up the ghost. Number one, that's a terrible username. And number two, that's not cool. And number three, I'm pretty sure that's against terms of service thing that you're trying to do, so. I do. Oh, the wrong thing. Well, another count added to the blocked and banned list. Does that list ever hit a maximum number? I wonder. I don't know. Don't know if that has a maximum amount of people you can put on there. You turned the stove off, right? Alright. So, dabbing we will go. Next bit coming in here. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. Kind of depends on what you're doing. I've had it help more when I've been shaping fluff. Um, it's done a little bit better when I've put a tiny drop of water down on what's there and then took the fluff and laid it on top for this stuff a little bit. So far, I'm feeling pretty good here. Maybe we won't get to the back. I feel like we will. Just it might not be till like the closer to the wrap up time today. We'll see. Depends on how this all covers. And how it's gonna go in here. I think my bits of fluff here have been getting a little bit bigger. than I normally like to work with. Because this guy's still not fully attached here. Which is slightly surprising. Okay. Wasn't sure if I was seeing what I was seeing in there, but now it kind of looks like I was. Where was I? Right about there. So, you're just gonna have sections that show up of your undercolor at certain points. If you're doing an inner core that's one color, and you're adding an outer core of another color. I have found this to be a thing. But then again, I also put my fluff down in a bit of thinner layers. Because that tends to be what works for me. You okay? You okay?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, why?
Just making sure. You cleared your throat and I didn't know if you were trying to get my attention or not.
Nope.
Now that fall is getting underway, does anybody have any favorite fall, autumn things that they like to do? Any traditions that you have? I mean, granted it's fall here, some areas are probably starting their winter or spring. So with the seasons changing, what season are you going into? Start with that. And what is something fun that you like to do during that season? Like here, some people will go and like go apple picking or go to fall festivals. Some people will go to like pumpkin patches or do mazes through cornfields that have been set up. Some people like to go to haunted houses. They're really into Halloween. I think I went to one haunted house once and absolutely hated it. But I kind of got dragged there because the whole group thought it would be fun, so I kind of just went even though I didn't want to. And I think I tripped and fell, and I think I fell into like a side wall that had like the people running it in there, and I think I fell on top of them. It was not a fun experience at all. I very much did not want to be there. But some people like to do the Oktober fests, food festivals, drinky festivals. Just make sure you have a driver that's not going to drink if you're going to go to those. There's a lot of craft festivals, craft fairs starting to happen. People buying fall and Christmas decorations for their house. The one place near where we used to live, we lived about maybe 10-15 minutes away from Smithville in South Jersey, and they put on a pretty good craft festival. I wasn't always able to go, working overnights, and at that point it was just way too peoply outside for me after working in the casino. But the couple times I went, it was kind of fun. It was wall to wall people, but some of those areas had some interesting things, some of those booths. I do miss being able to go up there, even just, walk around for a while. They had like a kitchen gadget store that the husband kind of liked at one point. And they had some restaurants up there. There was one that was like supposed to be really good, but you had to have reservations to get in, and it was really hard to get in. I'd never eaten there, so I don't know how I would feel about it. I don't need fancy food. Decent pizza and decent French fries, and I'm happy. So they had a good-sized candy store up there. Some had some prepackaged stuff, but they also had some homemade, made on site stuff. And they had a smelly shop, like incense and stuff. I could be in there briefly. I couldn't be in there too long. And then they had like a Christmas shop with all kinds of Christmas ornaments and stuff. And that was a fun shop to browse around in. They had a toy store up there at one point that was all sorts of fun to browse. They had like a lot of plushies and stuff, but that ended up closing. They used to have a double-decker carousel that looked like all sorts of like Victorian and antique and stuff, but then that one tended to travel. That carousel, like during the winter, it would end up in the one mall that wasn't too far from there a few years, and then once it got warm that people would be riding it outside, or at least the weather wasn't quite so shit, it would wind up back there for the spring and summer. I really liked that thing. And they had a little train that went around the whole one side of the shopping village. They had a miniature golf course too at one point, and that was all sorts of fun. But ironically, the people that we rented um the one apartment we were in from bought the whole place. Did they buy the whole place or did they just buy the new side? I think they bought because one side was older than the other, and I think they bought the newer side, and they took down the miniature golf course and ended up putting in a Airbnb bed and breakfast rooms that could be rented up there. They actually did that to a couple shops that ended up closing. Then you'll have like a row of shops and then like a B&B room. And I'm like, okay, not much privacy, but okay. And you definitely had to walk from your car because you couldn't park like right next to it. I found that kind of interesting. At least that's what they had done the last time we were up there, which was a number of years ago now. Might have been like 2014, 2015, something like that was the last time we were up at Smithville. We had been up there maybe twice, maybe three times after that, but we weren't there long enough to go do anything because we had to help move my dad down. And then we had to move my mother down. So those were not social trips. We were just there to get stuff done and be back on our way. We are making some headway on the underside of this guy. Flip him over. And we'll start to fill in this side now. Okay. Now that we're getting down to the thinner section here, it's going a little bit faster with the coloring process. One section right in here just kind of looked like it needed just a little bit more fluff. So I might as well just add it now. It's not gonna hurt any to do it now. Not gonna cost me much except a couple of minutes to go ahead and add that in. I don't see any of our brown color poking through the other side yet. So that's good. Just doing a slight roll on that section with this bit of fluff here. Work on getting this guy all attached in through here. But we've made a decent dent in this so far. At least it feels like it. I mean, we're already down to like this much left to color in essentially on the back side, on the bottom. The underside, excuse me. Technically, the back side's going to be the colored side on this guy. Alright, and we are going to need a bit more fluff and stuff. Are you in the middle of anything? Are you somewhere safe?
Yeah, safe-ish. What's up?
Can you see if she came back in yet? 'Cause she doesn't always say. Okay. Was she back in?
Yes. He's out again.
Okay. Alright. So we'll keep stepping along into here. Alright. Kind of surprised we haven't had a visit from Supervisor Bean yet. We usually tend to. Okay, so this guy's gonna kind of sit right in there. Who's in the window? That's who I thought it sounded like. Okay. We're just gonna keep on jabbing about here. We are getting closer to having the underside finished. with its main color components here. So yeah, about there-ish is where I stopped with the building up of the outside. Roughly. So that's gonna kind of fit there. Trying to make sure we've got a good coverage in this section here. Hopefully we don't end up coming through the other side. We might down here. It's not a huge problem on this side. Because we don't, like, we're not coming up through a different color yet. When we do the top color, that might potentially poke through the bottom color. This means we're going to have to try to stab a little shallow. And that might need a little extra attention in those areas, that's all. We'll see what happens when we get there, of course. It's going to be kind of hard to predict that as of this very moment. Alright, so far so good. And at this time, all we might see are some little bits of polyfill that might poke through and up on that side. Is what I'm thinking. Just doing this because it's a little fluffy. And I kind of need it to not be quite so out of control fluffy. We need this a controlled fluffy situation. This to be a controlled fluffy situation, not quite a willy-nills fluffy situation. We're getting there. We're definitely getting there. I know it doesn't look like much right now, but none of these ever do when we're first getting started with the Franken creatures. With the Nisey Franken creatures. Okay. So we're gonna need to put a little bit more. We're still looking pretty good there. So, like right in there. Needs a bit more fluff. As you know, we had some polyfill peeking out through the blinds there. So we need to cover up all of our thin spots. Get those blackout curtains put up there. So to speak. Okay. I'm coming in on this section a little bit sideways. Not terribly so. Hoping this weekend I can get this 40th video edited and get that section rendered so we can move on to video to the 41 through 60 set. I noticed on 1 week's worth of recordings that, or maybe it was just that particular day, but something happened and the video was like overly orange and I'm like, oh, what happened? It just seems to be that that was the way the camera was deciding it was going to pick up all of the color. Something was making the orange that was on the background, or maybe I was starting the orange tissue paper. I don't remember. Something happened on those days where like the color balance was just intensely orange. And I'm like, I don't know if I can fix that. There might be a way to, with fussing with the color settings in the video editor, but I'm not sure I want to mess with it that hard. that particular camera that I was using to record it is not this camera that we're using right now. So, the color balance on that other camera is always a bit tougher. Wasn't the greatest, but that is a much older camera. I want to say that camera is at least 6 years old, if not older. Might be older than that. I had another camera that I gave to somebody else. I was talking about trying to record some stuff, and I'm like, well, this is just sitting here collecting dust. I was like, even if you don't end up using it, you'll have it in case you change your mind. Like, I didn't really care if they ended up using it or not. It just, at least I didn't have it sitting here taking up space. And it potentially was going to get some sort of use. And I was trying to encourage them the only way I knew how. Okay. Just to the endpoint on the underside here. I mean, I still have to build the log that this thing is going to sit on. And that might be a little tricky. But I think I've got a solid enough idea to work from. Now for that, I am probably going to make a circular template. Out of a piece of cardboard or something, so that I know how big my end pieces need to be for our loggy guy. And it's not going to be solid inside. I'm going to stuff it. And I might end up trying to either needle felt the circle in place, or I might just end up sewing it. Sewing it might be easier. And if the sewing gets to be a bit challenging, then I can pull out the glue gun, I guess. But that'll more than likely be like the last bit we have to do. Still looking pretty good. Can't really see much overflow there. Time to do some worky bits on this side. Okay. All of this kind of worked into here. I think we've got this the right thickness here because I haven't seen any stabby bits coming out the other side yet, which is always a good sign. I have gone through a fair bit of what I had fluffed already, but I mean, I already have a bunch of fluff bags I need to refill here. You know, eventually when I get around to it. I need to really go through all of the fluff because I'm trying to get the fluff condensed down into one container. All of the yarn. Eventually we will. Okay. Slowly, ever so slowly. Just dabbing away. Little by little. Oh, still looking pretty good. I think I did manage to accidentally get that the right thickness there to not have to worry about it. Okay. Oh, Mr. Bean found cow. Alrighty. So, we'll get this stabbed into here. And the cats are gonna get into all sorts. And Mr. Bean! Mr. Bean! Hey! Hey! Cal would be so much happier if you would cuddle with him. Mr. Bean is not in the cuddle stage yet. Mr. Bean is in the Destroyer of Worlds stage of kittendom. Where everything is an obstacle to be bested. And Mr. Bean certainly knows how to fight dirty. He's still going after my feet and ankles. I'm like, dude, stop it. It was cute when and funny when your claws weren't quite so raptor ripping apart a frickin' other dinosaur for a meal. He had the back of my ankle bleeding the other night. And we just cut his nails too. Lately it seems like his nails need to be cut like every 2 days almost. We haven't been, but that's what it seems like. Like, how did we just trim your nails and already they feel like we never touched them? Like, how, Mr. Benz? How? Okay. This bit in here tacked into place. I'll tell you, I am just like so just burned out from everything. Figuring out what dinner is gonna be every night is becoming a challenge. Like, I don't know. It's not only do I have to feed me, I have to feed my mom too, and I'm like, I don't fucking know, and she won't eat half the stuff that I've been making lately. The only thing she doesn't complain about eating more than 2 days in a row is pancakes, it seems, but she can't live off the pancakes. And then when I do make her other stuff, she eats. If I make her chicken and rice, she'll eat all of the rice first before she eats all of the chicken. I'm like, chicken first, then rice. Like, you need the protein. So, I need just a little bit more. I think last night I was just in such a desperation of something to figure out for dinner. I ended up making some pasta, seashell shaped pasta and some dinosaur chicken nuggets that I turned into dino nuggy chicken parm. Thawed out some sauce. Once they were done cooking, I threw a little bit of sauce on them, a little bit of mozzarella cheese, threw them back in the oven. And then because I pulled too much cheese out of the freezer, I threw it in the sauce so I didn't waste it. And then had a cheesy sauce to put over my pasta shells. Just at a loss. I don't fucking know. I think tonight we're gonna do hamburgers. I think. I don't know if she's having hamburger or not. She's either eating with me or she's eating with the husband, and I don't know which that is going to be yet. Alright, that looks pretty good. I think. Alright, and I didn't have any brown coming through that side, so that's good. Alright. So that was the underside of our sluggy boy. And that was Big Twist Camel. I know Big Twist doesn't exist anymore, but that's what I used, and I've had that color for a while. So let me just hang up that color so it's out of the way. Hi, Mr. Ben. So let me look at my, excuse me, sir, other colors here. Kind of all over here. No, you can't. Let's do that so you don't knock it over. No, hi. Zip ties are not toys, buddy. This guy. This guy. Come here. Let me flip you over. This guy. Nothing but trouble, this guy. He's a demon void. Demon void! Mr. Beans, nothing but trouble. Nothing but trouble. Go find some toys. Alright, so I've got soft fudge. I've got coffee bean. What was I planning on doing the main color on the back with? I think we were going to do mustard yellow. They're similar, but this one's a little bit grayer, so I think this was going to be the head. Our little fringes here, they kind of look slightly green, but not. But I don't know. I probably shouldn't bring green into it, though. Like, that's like my darkest, brownest green. So it would definitely be an abomination of color choices here. It's that or it's like a... I don't even know what color that is. It feels very much like a 70s couch color. I'll put it that way. We might end up using that just to change it up a bit. So I think the main body color we decided was going to be this. So the ooh, majority length of time working on this one's probably going to be the display log. Just based on how we are moving along with our coloring here. But you know what? That's okay because I have my mom's gift still to even start. And I was going to try to do an embroidery kit I saw. It says it was beginner friendly. And I have cross-stitched before, so it's not like it's that far in of a concept. Still kind of have to build the head shape up, but I want to make that be like one of the last things I do to the body. Because, you know, he gets tossed and turned a bit, so... I don't want to undo anything I spent a while working on there. Alright. I'm just kind of getting this layered up here. So this color is mustard yellow, and that is going to be from the Paintbox line, Paintbox brand, and it's gonna be from their Simply Chunky. Not their Simply Super Chunky, just their Simply Chunky. There are two different chunkies that they have. Just to be entirely clear on that. Alright. Those are two different brands. The shades might be the same, or at least similar. But some of their skein thicknesses are only certain color selections for them. And when I last looked, there was like 50 some colors or 40 some colors. So 48, 56, something like that in the Simply Chunky. It seems to be a popular line for Lovecraft, because it seems like every time it goes on sale, they're always out of some color, if not multiples. Now this part will probably take a hot minute to get settled in here. Right, because we've got a little bit more circumference to fill in here than we did with the brown. But that's why I've been wanting to start these early, so that way I have the time to work on them. And I don't have to stress it quite so much. So we can take our time, and that way I'm not pulling like 20-hour days trying to finish it in time for Christmas here. That way I can take my time and work on some other stuff. Mr. Bean getting in all kinds of trouble. Oh, I'm so excited for Katamari coming out. That's gonna be fun. I haven't done Katamari in a hot minute. Maybe we should do some of the older Katamaris to get ready for the newer Katamari. We could do that. I think I have the other two on Steam. Just the ones that came out on PC. Expecting another DLC to come out soon from Planet Zoo. I don't know for sure when the next one is. They usually put out one unexpectedly, at least as far as I'm aware, because I never know about it until I see the announcement. It's not like I'm stalking the Planet Zoo channels, seeing when they're talking about the next DLC dropping, so it's always a surprise for me. But lately they had been putting one out like a week or two before Christmas, always after we've finished Christmas shopping. And I feel like they put one out in the fall before too. But I'm not sure if they're going to. Sort of thing. Oh, Steam's autumn sale started today. So if you haven't logged into there yet, or in a little bit, you might want to see if anything you've got sitting on your wish list is on sale, and if it's a good enough sale to go ahead and grab. There were a couple things on my list on sale, but nothing that was at a I must get you on this sale price. But I have some mostly like city builder stuff on there. So I don't know if other titles are a better deal right now or not. case you didn't know. Just giving you that heads up. I'm not sure how long that sale's going for. I didn't pay attention to the dates on it. All I know is that I got a pop-up this morning when I loaded in. That that was happening. All right. So yeah, we're just kind of taking our time and starting to work in the body color now. And that is going to take a minute to get the color layered up in here and get all of that polyfill covered up. You know what? I knew that when I used the polyfill. We're not a stranger to that. So that's not really all that much of a surprise. Okay. Like, I'm also kind of doing this a little bit slower because I don't want to lose my shape here either. Right, we went to all that trouble to get that shaped out. Sometimes these guys have a way of losing their shape on me in general. Like, not this specific one, but stuff that we have done previously. So I'm just trying to go a little bit slower. And try not to have my fluff too tight. What's up, Beans? Hi, Beans. Jesus Christ. Hi, no. Can you, like, get out of my turtles? What are you doing? You're making my panel light shake. What are you doing? Buddy, you don't fit through that. No, no. Mr. Bean. Oh, fucking help. I need your help.
How's he doing? Mr. Bean!
He's trying to go away that he can't.
Come on, Mr. Bean. Come here.
And he's getting tangled in wires. My poor little turtle collection over there.
Yeah, I keep finding turtles on the floor, by the way.
That would be courtesy of him. I'm gonna have to fun tack them fuckers to the desk at this point. I guess I know what my project is tonight instead of editing. Fun tacking the turtles down. Because a couple of them he's picked up in his mouth and started to run away with. And I'm like, excuse me. No. That is not for you.
Mommy, yes.
He is an ornery little guy. I don't remember Cal being quite this bad when he was in kitten stage. This little man is making it his mission in life to destroy everything in his path. But he's such a cuddle bug when it's time to settle down for the night. He's purry and flippy and wants to cuddle. He's like an entirely different cat. It's wild. Absolutely wild. So we're just working on attaching our yellow here. Or one of our shades of yellow. Okay. I might stop a little early today, just because of the rough time I've been having with my neck. Because this does get a little jarring after a while with how thick I've got the polyfill on my neck and all of its lovely necky issues. But we did get a fair bit done today. So I'm fairly pleased with that so far. That, and I'm like not in a mad dash to complete this guy. Okay. And I'm also gonna have that little bit of fringy stuff coming off the edge. And I don't know, I might make it that like really drab green. I probably shouldn't, but I'm kind of leaning towards it. It's either that or like a different, like taupey color. I need to look at my options again. I've got one color taupe that's a little more towards the brown side, and I've got another color taupe that's a little more towards the gray side in different brands. So, I mean, that's kind of hilarious, but just trying to make sure that everybody's attached in there. Like, I don't want to lose our shape here. That sounded empty.
Not quite empty, but yeah. Right.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep that barely filled during the day. I'll top it up at night, but we have a separate feeding station on a folding chair because Littles has claimed the kitchen feeding station for hers, and she's been outright out for blood hunting the boys that seem to enter the kitchen to eat. So we added a second feeding station in a different room, and Mr. Bean has decided that he loves flipping that food bowl off of that chair, and then he'll eat the food off of the dirty floor. I'm like, buddy, I need to shampoo that rug. It's gross. Don't eat off of that. That's on my list of things to do probably on Thursday. Or Wednesday night, rather. Because I have to do it after my mom goes to bed. So she's not traipsing across it and then stepping on the kitchen floor and slipping. Much rather do it earlier in the day. But she's constantly walking across that rug all day, so I kind of can't. And it's been a while since I have shampooed that. Like, it doesn't look too bad in spots, but in other spots it's definitely high trafficked and needs a good shampooing. Alright, so we got the entire underside covered, and we are starting to get our yellow put in here. But I think I am going to stop there for today, because that's a lot of stabbing on my neck that's not had a good couple of days, so I think we've gotten enough done for today. And I know the face still looks a little elongated, but don't worry. I think I'm gonna have to build the color up here just to get the layers right so it doesn't misshapen on me. And then we'll work on this, and I still have to build the head up, but I'm going to do that with the color that it's actually going to be just to make my life a little bit easier. So we will pick that back up next week. Tomorrow tomorrow we should be back, migraine permitting, to work on Planet Zoo. And we will be picking back up where we left off with that gift shop plaza there. Next to the binturongs, and then we'll be starting the new education building. I don't know what that's quite going to look like just yet. But we'll have it look something. We'll figure it out. But that will be a matter for tomorrow. So thank you guys for checking things out today. I do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow the socially links down below. Those will take you to the Ko-fi where you can support the channel through there if you don't want to support through Twitch, which I totally understand. It's like Patreon, but not exactly. So it's similar. And then we also have a link to the Blue Sky, which is kind of like X Twitter, but it's a little bit easier on my sanity, so that's why I moved over there. And we also have the link to the YouTube channel. And don't forget to like and subscribe over there. It's free to subscribe there. It's kind of like the follow here. So go ahead and do that. That'll help out the YouTube channel quite a bit. We are not monetized on the YouTube channel yet. We're still about 300 followers and probably like 600 watch minutes. No, more than that. Probably like maybe 2,000 watch minutes away from monetizing over there. So even if you like just turn on a playlist and just have it playing in the background with like the volume turned down, that would help the channel too over there. And sometimes we have some stuff show up on YouTube that we didn't live stream over here, like some art projects, some games such as Honey, I Joined a Cult, and Bear and Breakfast. We did a playthrough of up to the current content over there. And, you know, and then there's some painting stuff that we've done that I recorded while we were away that I posted up over there as well. So don't forget to check all that out. I will see everybody tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. And until next time, everybody, have a good one.